You're ignorant, I'm ignorant, we are all ignorant if we ignore ways to start a conversation in any situation. Anybody can do it. Anybody can start a conversation in any situation so long as they know how. How? Number one, talk to somebody, approach them. So many people avoid talking to other people. If you think about it, when was the last time that you walked down the road or down the street and from a couple of 100 meters or yards you saw this outline of a human being coming along? You recognize that it's a male or a female, and you realize that it's generally a person that's of a certain age group. And then obviously as they're coming closer, you can recognize that there are a certain shape and colouring in the face and hair and so on. And then you recognize, oh hey, that's that person I know, or that's that person that I don't particularly like. And then you walk by them and they walk by you. That happens a million times. It happens to me, it happens to everybody. But if we actually recognize them by just making that very basic eye contact or saying hello, it's actually going to elicit conversation. It's pushing the ball out onto their court. If you do it first, you're actually starting conversation straight away. Just by eye contact, just by looking their way, just by even opening your body towards them. Even when you're walking, even when you're running or on a bicycle or even in a car, just waving. You are starting a conversation. You can always then in the future go back to that moment in time and say, I saw you there when I was in the car, or I saw you walking down the street. And the ball again, as I said, is already in their court and they haven't hit it back to you. So they're not continuing with the conversation. And this is such an easy way of starting a conversation in any moment. Another way is, like I just mentioned briefly, eye contact. Eye contact is so important. And even just looking at somebody in a certain way is going to give them an actual opener for them to converse. If you think of something that happens between two people or a crowd of people, maybe if you're at a bus stop, you'll notice that you're all waiting for the exact same thing. It's quite obvious that you're all going to be waiting for the bus. And if you're waiting for the bus, well then the bus has to come along and you guys are going to naturally get on the bus or queue up for the bus. But if you make eye contact when the bus is coming, or something you've noticed about the bus that's a bit odd or something, you can then communicate to somebody, obviously it's about the bus that I'm communicating with you. So this is a typical example of how eye contact is going to be towards a mutual interest. It's the same way as if you're at a game or a match or a concert and you notice something that's going on. If your favourite song is being played, you can then look back at your friend or even somebody in the crowd and make eye contact right at the beginning of that masterful tune, because it's making you feel something. And obviously your eyes are going to say a huge lot. People say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. So you're definitely going to communicate your feelings about that song or that situation for sure. Another one is you're smiling. Yes, smiling. It's really important to smile, but it's even more important to smile genuinely. There's absolutely no point whatsoever in making up a fake smile. This kind of thing that's not really genuine is so obvious. It's just not yourself. You have to be yourself. So therefore, starting a conversation can actually come deeper than the smile and the eye contact. It can come from up here, your mind. And what's in your mind when you see that person coming from a distance? When you see and recognize them more so. That's going back to when you met them the last time, or any type of interaction that you've had, or the general interactions you've had with them in the past. Because if you've had general interactions with these people in the past, or even the people at the bus stop, or the concert, or the match, or the game, and so on, then it's your reaction, your smiles, and all of that is coming from how you've processed this going on up here in your brain, in your mind's eye. That's what's going to be pushed back at them in the future when you see them again. So if you think of a momentary reaction when you turn a corner and suddenly you see somebody and maybe they have earphones on and you bump into them, you look at them and you either smile, your eyes will tell something when you look up at them or look down at them. Your body language, that's another thing. This will open out a conversation. So it's this reaction that's going to be seen and observed by the other person. And this is the opener, this is the essential opener for people, that your reaction is going to be either positive or negative. But it can be all different types of positive or negative. It can be positive in the fact that it is showing that you are happy towards them, as in smiling, your eyes are happy, or you are astonished with them, or you are just confused by them because that's the last thought process or analysis that you had of this person or the situation you had with them before this sort of general conversation that's going on with them in your mind about them. Or you're on the other side of things, you're negative towards them, and again they react, you bump into them, and suddenly it's it's you, it's hi, and then you try and put on this fake smile. It doesn't work because they have already seen that instant where you bumped into them. So how we process our thoughts towards somebody is going to actually start a conversation with somebody. Then there's simple things like the weather. The weather is so common to us all. How is the weather? The weather is good. Rather than asking them how is the weather, say to them it's a sunny day. It's a really good day, it's a really cool day. Or it's getting cold out here, isn't it? It's one of the even the oldest conversational tactics of all time. Jeepers, the weather is different today, isn't it? What do you think? And then you're asking them an opinion as well, both in the same kind of sentence. You're asking them, you're giving the subject matter, which is the actual weather, and you're asking them a question and saying, here, comment on it. Maybe I'm wrong here. Or, I'm not sure about this weather. That's a really interesting one. When you're teaching children, you often say, I'm not sure about something. You're trying to tease them into actually giving their opinion, giving them the opportunity to break through that shyness, break through that anxiety, break through the fact that there's all these other people around them, and they will then say, well, no, I think you're right, or no, hold on, I'll give you the answer. And this is what they'll do. You'll always get a child that will do that. It's the same though with adults, because remember, a lot of people that you're trying to make and try and open conversations with, they won't have graduated from their childlike status of being either shy or anxious, or they might actually be shy or anxious around you for whatever reason. You might be attracted to them, they might be attracted to you, or there may be this kind of thing where they feel that you're commanding or you command more respect, you're in an authoritative position, whatever's going on in their mind is their analysis of you. So you need to break that down, and the easiest way to break it down is these instantaneous things. You look well, that is a really nice jacket, where did you get it? Or you have a really nice scent off you, that's what type of perfume is that, or is that a certain type of perfume? These kind of little innuendos of trust, these charm offensives actually work, but they have to be real. If they're fake, they're not going to work. You have to be genuine. It's really important to be genuine, and you can't just make up the fact that, oh, okay, I'm going to say a jacket, and suddenly, yeah, they're wearing a jacket, so therefore I'll have to use the jacket line. But to them it mightn't be called a jacket, it might be something totally more stylish and something that's brand new in fashion, and it's not a jacket. You're actually insulting them that it's called a jacket. In fact, they're trying to get away from the whole jacket thing. This was a thing where I know of a guy who complimented a female on a shawl. He said, that's a really nice shawl you have. And she went crazy, and she turned around to her and said, this is a pashmina, this is not a shawl. So the guy was actually trying his very, very best to recognise that this is a shawl. I know my stuff, I'm a male, and I actually know what I'm talking about here. I know this is the one piece, an item of clothing that I know for certain that this is a shawl. And I'm recognising it, and by the fact that I recognise it, I'm into the conversation here with the woman. But the female looked around and said, no, this is a pashmina. This was a huge insult to her. This was done in a queue for a nightclub one time. And it's so ridiculous when you think about it, when you think back on it, but I witnessed it and I was like, oh, that's uncomfortable. but the guy is just really genuinely trying his very, very best. Now, if you try your best, just use these momentary things, just interject rather than being rude. Excuse yourself if you need to. Measure the situation, measure the energy that's around, and always take the other person into consideration and how they're feeling. One step at a time, you can talk to anybody and start that conversation with opener. Now, I've asked other people about what they think about this, and this is what they have come back with. So it's really interesting to figure out what others feel too. So I hope you liked the video. If you do, please subscribe. Thanks if you have already. Until next time though, have a wonderful day.